I showed you how to use the RMS current limiter in AC mode. Now I'm going to show you how to use the peak limiter and the effect of the peak limiter in RMS. So I'm still at AC mode, 30 volt, 50 Hertz. I'm going to go to the settings, so an AC 30 volt. And this time I'm going to still use continuous, but I'm going to change the type of the limiter from RMS to peak limiter. And as you can see on the oscilloscope, now we have 30 volt RMS and 30 amps RMS. But in the purple graph, you can see that actually the peak limit or the peak of the current is at 40 amps, right? So that's 30 amps times the square root of 2, which is the peak at roughly 40 amps. So we want to watch out on the peak here. So if I go back to the setting of the PowerWave, I'm going to enable the peak limiter and I'm going to set it to 10 amps, for example, on line 1. And now on the oscilloscope, as you can see, the peak limiter is applied, so it limits really in basically the time domain the peak to the 10 amps. So the effect is that actually the sine wave is clipped at 10 amps. So as you can see, it's a very, very fast current limiter at peak. So it really clips at this 50 Hertz signal here exactly at 10 amps, remains at 10 amps for some milliseconds, and once the voltage comes down and the current comes down, it goes back to the sine wave shape. So this is the current limiter, the peak current limiter in RMS. There are certain use cases for this, but usually in AC you use RMS current limiter, and in DC you usually recommend to use the peak current limiter.